sure, motherfucker?
I'm ready, Jesse. I'm ready.
Dude, I read this thing where scientists found out how to make reproducing robots, I guess. And the robots aren't like made out of metal or anything. It looked like they were made out of organic stuff. Somebody commented on the bottom of it, said like, just wait till they gain sentience or whatever.
It's not even.
And that got me thinking about like semen. What if jizz gained sentience? You know what I mean? And like they had like this whole world like we do, you know? Kind of like in South Park where they had the semen do the Twin Towers thing. They had sentience. But anyway, it goes through the whole thing. They have a savior that's crucified on a cross. What would you call that savior? He's semen. There are semen people that are sentient, and they, at this point, have a coherent language, and they can talk to each other. What do you think they'd call that savior, that Messiah?
Jesus.
Close. I was thinking Jizzleezus. Or Marissa came up with one that kind of made me mad because it didn't sound as funny. It's perfect because it doesn't add any extra. I can't even think of the words right now. My brain's not letting me fucking talk right now. Syllable. It doesn't add extra syllables like me, which I think the extra syllables make it funnier. But she said jizzus.
Oh yes.
But I think Jizzleezus is funnier.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna stick with Jizzleezus.
Video game. I'm better than you.
This is a good podcast about who is better at the video game than the other person.
Sorry, Jesse. Jizzleus is pretty funny.
Jizzleezus Christ, man. I've been trying.
Jizzleus Christ.
Jizzleezus. Did I tell you that a drone flew over us after we did that episode? The last episode? Like we were at the dog park and it flew past Camp Bowie Boulevard and hovered over us and then tilted to where as if it was like actually looking at us.
No, you didn't tell me that.
Yeah, man. And then we're looking at it and the other onlookers are there looking at it like, what the fuck? This straight up drone is staring at us. And then it flies backwards and fucking crosses the street and just kind of flies out of sight. It doesn't go to anybody controlling anything. It just keeps going. It's crazy.
That's crazy, dude.
I suppose if that means what I think it does. Well,
that is crazy. And today, ladies and gentlemen, viewers and listeners, well, just listeners, we are going to talk about a very interesting subject.
Yes, turn up your mic, but do not let your kids talk into it.
Yes. Anti-fascism.
There you go. That sounds a lot better. Antifa, Ant Khalifa. Ant Wiz Khalifa.
Yes. Now, Jesse has read a book on it. Jesse, please tell the audience what the book is about.
Okay, it's a porn.
Who wrote it?
It's written by Hugh Hefner.
You better back up.
And it's all gay porn. Let me pull it up. It is called Antifa. Of all names to title the book. What the hell? It's not letting me go to my library. Okay, so it's called Antifa.
I don't want you to do that.
I can't. It's not letting me look at it. What the fuck is going on here?
They know, Jesse. They know.
No, dude, it was weird because when I tried to say have you look up Antifa, it wouldn't even let me put it on there. It said it was abusive content. But yeah, I sent you Antifa.com is what I sent you, and it redirected you to whitehouse.gov. And it didn't let me do that because it said it was abusive content, and I remember I sent you the picture of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Did you do it?
No, but it's funny.
Come
Antifa.
here.
Did Antifa.com redirect to
Let's go, I killed him.
WhiteHouse.com officially?
Oh, you're bad.
Dang it.
Redirects website as the trolls website trolls Biden.
It kind of just makes you realize that there's trolls that are highly intelligent
I just killed the guy
on
that's
the
gonna show me
side of
places.
Trump, which is really weird. You know what I mean? Because you wouldn't expect a Trump pansy to be so smart.
That's a good one. I like that. Trump pansies.
I read it. I read it online. I saw it. I'm not gonna take credit for that.
Good old Trump pansies.
So, yeah, we're talking about Antifa. Antifa started in the 1920s. Or no, it first appeared in 1930, and the long form was borrowed from the original Italian anti-fascist, antifascisti.
Antifascisti. Fascisti.
Yeah, that.
So the Anti-Defamation League recommends that the label Antifa should be limited to those who proactively seek physical confrontations with their perceived fascist adversaries. Okay, so that's a really interesting word of choice, perceived. These guys are an organization that just hates
Fascists.
They hate fascists. It's a left-wing, anti-fascist, anti-racist political movement. The ones in the United States. It's highly decentralized. They have a bunch of autonomous groups.
Yeah.
Antifa uses both nonviolent and violent direct actions to achieve its aims. Much of Antifa...
Are you reading this from Wikipedia?
Some of it, yeah.
Oh, okay, I was like, man, I'm reading along with you, and I didn't know that you looked at. I was like, man, this is word for word.
Yeah, it's crazy. If you look at the author on the bottom, it's me.
Holy shit.
Much of Antifa's political activism is non-violent, everybody, involving poster and flyer campaigns, mutual aid speeches, protest marches, and community organization. Some who identify as Antifa also combat far-right extremists, such as neo-Nazis and white supremacists. Jesus Christ, Josh.
Sorry, Jesse.
Please get away from me.
All right, Devin.
And at times, it's all good. It's all good. They're going to have to go through this and listen to it if they want to listen to it. Your kids sound like they're making a porn back there, though.
Jesus.
I'm kidding.
He's
And at
playing
times,
Skyrim.
with tactics including digital activism, doxing, harassment, physical violence, and property damage. So, mostly they're against white supremacists. Antifa resurfaced after 2011. 2011 they surfaced in the United States during the what was it? Wall Street when they
Walk on Wall Street?
or whatever it was. They inhabited basically
March on Wall Street? What was it?
Some-
on Wall Street.
something on Wall Street.
Let's get this right.
Yeah,
Wall Street.
Occupy Wall Street.
Occupy, yes.
Yeah,
Occupy.
they kind of not first emerged, but they came out of the ether in about 2011 for the Occupy Wall Street thing because of what was going down, how they perceived certain possible fascistic tendencies. And when Trump came around, they resurfaced, and there's a reason why. I mean, he's got a lot of fascistic tendencies.
If you don't mind, but I would like to read what fascism is from Wikipedia, Jesse.
I don't mind. Do
Right.
this.
All right. So fascism is a far-right, authoritarian, ultra-nationalistic political ideology and movement characterized by dictatorial power, militarism, forceful suppression of opposition, belief in natural social hierarchy, subordination of individual interests for the good of the nation, and a strong regimentation of society and economy that rose to prominence in the early 19th or 20th century Europe, It began in Italy, spread to other countries such as Germany. They believe it's derived from Sparta. They believe Spartans were the first fascists. And, a lot of things go on in it.
There,
The belief that they're a special population or, highly, hierarchy. Like different races have different values or different hierarchy.
right.
Extreme, yeah. So manifest a belief in racial purity of a master race, usually synthesized with some variant of racism or bigotry against the demonized other. And the demonized other for Trump was Mexicans.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time.
And Antifa.
Yeah. Antifa was I think that was the blanket term for people that he just didn't agree with him, or even if they did agree with him and they just kind of went off the chain. That was Antifa. If they were Trump pansies and they fucked shit up, Antifa did it.
I mean, the people that stormed
The Capitol.
the White House, according to the Trump pansies, was Antifa.
So let's get a little background on Antifa.
Yeah,
These guys started around the 1920s, 1930s, right? And I have a really interesting theory that I'm going to throw in there real quick after I give you the quick, brief history of Wiz Khalifa. Antifa.
Wiz Khalifa.
These guys were like the first line of defense back in the day. We needed them back in the day. They were the first line of defense against Nazism and Benito Mussolini. And there was a video that you sent me that I think it was it Ben Shapiro that said that they helped Nazis do their thing? It was super stupid. Remember we were talking about
NGO. No, that guy.
Oh yeah. The Asian guy, the Ngo or whatever his name was. He had this. Everybody was like, "Oh, you're so brave for doing your speech," because I guess he got his fucking bell rung in the autonomous zone in Washington State, and that wasn't Antifa. That was a bunch of people, But Antifa was, I guess they were part of it or some parts of it. We'll have to look at that too. We'll have to read off the autonomous zone. But when Italian dictator Benito Mussolini consolidated power under his National Fascist Party, NFP, in the mid-1920s, an oppositional anti-fascist movement surfaced both in Italy and countries such as the United States. Many anti-fascist leaders in the United States were anarchists, socialists, and syndicalists. Now, if we remember history, the people that were worse, the people that got it worse than anybody when Hitler was doing his thing were anarchists. They got it worse than communists. They got it worse than the Jews even. He was brutal with anarchists because let's say that there's a totalitarianistic system that's sentient, right? Right now it's capitalism. And if you have a totalitarianistic system that's sentient, they're going to see the threat to itself and they're going to attack it. And the biggest threat to that existence was solidarity to anarchistic beliefs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
The latter being communistic too. Communists had it the second hardest.
Well,
Hitler was super rough on them.
The spectrum of political ideologies, you got communism on the far left, and then anarchism is probably even further than that. And then you have fascism, which is on the other spectrum, and it makes sense that the two don't mesh well. You know what I mean?
Right.
The further you go to one spectrum on either side, theoretically, an anarchist and a fascist are going to kill each other in a cell. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They
theoretically. They
theoretically
may find common ground. We're human beings. Not all human beings, fall into that. But theoretically, they would kill each other.
In my studies, though, I find that most of Antifa's activities are validated. Now, not all of them. So be careful with what you're perceiving that I say. They don't believe in free speech for fascists. So, like, that's kind of a slippery slope, and they kind of use that in the book too. They say, well,
Yeah.
there's a slippery slope argument, but it is a slippery slope. If you take free speech from anybody, then who's to say what fascism is? Who's
Yeah.
to say, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because in an effort to try to beat the bad guys, you become a bad guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's
While
like
yeah, while I'm sort of sympathetic to some of the stuff that they've done, some of the people that they've protected, and some of the things that happened to them, that doesn't mean that I agree with everything that they've done, or everything that they do. And they're do, and they're decentralized. They're not.
yeah, they're nebulous. It's like
Yeah.
a cloud. You know?
Yeah.
They're not. They're organized
They're the true sense of the.
by outsiders, not the insiders. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're the true sense of the meaning of anarchists. They're actual anarchists.
Yeah, I mean, they're according to Wikipedia, their political ideologies range from communist, socialist, and anarchist.
Anarchists, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? They're far left, so that makes sense because those ideologies are pretty close to anarchy. You know, what I mean, in the spectrum of the political structure.
Right. And there's a lot of big things that Antifa was involved in. One was the George Floyd incident. And you can actually hear George Floyd on our outro. He's, I took a recording of him dying in real time and sort of immortalized it in our outro. And I don't want to. The reason why I did that is because I don't want anybody to forget anything on the intro and the outro. I want everybody to listen to those, and I want everybody to remember them. You know what I mean? We those are moments in history that need to be forever immortalized and memorized by us, so that we don't just keep doing it and stay in this endless cycle of treachery. You know.
Yeah.
Quick. Sorry.
Go ahead, just-
Go ahead. No, go ahead. My bad.
The thing with Antifa, the weakness they
Come
have,
closer, Joshua. I cannot hear you.
The thing with Antifa, the weakness they have is it's not a very popular movement, and the popular movements like Republican and Democrats in our society, they have the media, and they're able to label these fringe groups however they want to, you know, terrorists, outsiders, blah blah blah, and people believe it. People believe it offhand, like it's an organized terrorist group, and it's not.
No.
I mean, like, I think just about everybody in America would consider themselves an anti-fascist.
Yeah. No, it's true. So in a way, they're kind of, up there with that bullshit. So check this out. John Ronald Reuel Tolkien was an English writer, poet, philologist, and academic, best known as the author of the high fantasy works The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings from 1925 to 1945. Remember those dates, because I'm about to tell you this cool conspiracy theory I've had. I mean, there's a lot of people that try to defame Tolkien and say that he was a fascist, but if you read his works and you take key quotes from history, like one of the things that anti-fascists are most popular sayings, most famous for saying, is "You shall not pass, they shall not pass," and it's man, this is one of the biggest quotes in. Which is it? The Lord of the Rings that he says?
Lord of
that
the
in?
Rings, when he was talking to that evil.
When he's talking to Balrog, who's gonna come and fuck shit up. Like, think about the idea of Lord of the Rings. It's a ring of power. Power indicates what? Fascism, right? Like, they have the will to do good with it, but it always ends up turning into something sour, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have all this small radical group of people going around trying to stop and stifle by any means necessary. And that's another one of those famous quotes from an Antifa. It's by any means necessary. they stopped the fascism. When man, I'm dizzy right now. I don't know what's wrong with me. When Gandalf puts his staff down and says, "You shall not pass," and then he says, "You will not pass," and that's I think that was first said in France by Antifa, who were. Let's look that up real quick. I thought I had it in my shit. But anyway, you go back to Antifa also thinks that innately capitalism leads to fascism because it's just the nature of it is totalitarianistic, you know, and it's proving to be true. So if you go back into an earlier set of movies or books, you can find The Hobbit, where the dragon, what's his name, Smaug?
Smaug. Yeah.
Look up the meaning of Smaug. Smaug greedily hides his treasure, and he is just this basic capitalist. He hoards all the gold, and he sits on it for no fucking reason and terrorizes people. And they go and kill him while finding the Ring of Power in the dungeon of capitalism.
Well, I don't know about him being a capitalist. He could be the...
Well, you think about it, capitalism, the capitalists do just sit on wealth and accumulate it, kind of like the dragon that sits on all his gold and hoards it. Matter of fact, a lot of the ways that rich people keep their money is not by spending it. They actually borrow against their own money, and it gives them more, which is a strange tactic only rich people can do.
It doesn't really say. Let's see, Smaug.
They shall not pass is a slogan most notably used by France in World War I to express determination to defend a position against an enemy. It was also used during the Spanish Civil War by the Republican faction, and mostly through all the times that they've really defended themselves against any type of dictatorship. So the name in popular culture in The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien, a veteran of World War I who had fought at the Battle of Somme, the wizard Gandalf shouts, "You cannot pass at Balrog."
So, the name Smaug comes from an early Germanic verb, smaugen, to slip in a hole, an etymology token called a philologist joke. According to Tom Shippey,
Philologist.
It was the name Smaug may come from a mysterious expression, smeagwaren, penetrating worm.
Wow. Okay.
So it's I guess to slip in a hole. I guess the area he was in a hole. He slipped in it. Smaug.
Yeah, he was a philologist. He studied different languages. He wrote a whole bunch of his own different languages for the books.
Yeah.
Dude, you know, looking at his picture when he was in the British Army, this motherfucker looks like Hitler.
Jesus.
He looks just like the motherfucker. That's crazy.
So, I mean, anti-fascism, any needs necessary. It can lend itself to attacking without due process. You know what I mean? Like, when you attack somebody without legitimate power, you're taking it into your own hands, and I think it's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, if you had legitimate power within the government to prevent it, then yeah, you know what I mean? That's something that you were given. But if you're not going through the due process before you commit an act,
Yeah.
I think it's irresponsible. Arguments I mean, like, the thing with fascism and populism is Trump. He was able to move the media. He acts in a big way. He's entertaining, and that gets a lot of people's interest up. You know what I mean? And Antifa is kind of boring. You know what I mean? In a way, you know, like they're not loud enough for American society to really take it serious. You know what I mean? Like the Trumpanites and the left, you know, like the regular, you know, good old Democrats. You can't move them with what's going on with Antifa because their message it doesn't really pierce the so you know like the media
I'm
like the messengers for Trump and
Yeah, I'm not gonna stop them though because they do have their uses, man. They got they were there for the bombing of Bologna. The fascists bombed them. There's a bunch of more disagreeable things that the fascists did than the Antifa did.
I'm not
Running over a
arguing
bunch of
against them.
Jewish
I'm just
people in
saying
a rally. Yeah, no, I know.
easy targets. The more further left you get, the less and less people tend to be in the middle. You know what I mean? That's where the mass majority is. You know, they're in the middle of political structure.
It's crazy how much Antifa is in our society though, because punk started out with I think they said it kind of started with Nazi punk, and then Antifa started making their own punk and maximum rock and roll. I might have that wrong, but it's ingrained in the history of punk, like
punk
good punk.
Is anti-fascism. It's anti-society. It's anarchy. I mean, like,
Right.
if you look at what Antifa stands for, it's line in line with what anarchy stands for. You could basically call Antifa anarchist and not really be wrong. I mean, there's caveats and there's some subtle differences, but all in all, even if they're anarchist, you know what I mean? They're anarchists.
Yeah.
Not to say that that's an easy thing to say, but
They're mostly against the ruling class that we have right now. You are completely pulled the plug. I can't hear you at all. Jesus Christ, Josh.
Jesus
Christ.
Dresser, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so go ahead.
Dude, you know what I was thinking?
What?
I told this dude because I've been trying to like make money all the time, and this dude was like, "Why don't you try prostitution?" And I was like, "Dude, you couldn't pay me $1 to suck your dick." And he pulls $1 out of his wallet and gives it to me, and I look at it, and I look at him, and I whispered, "How did you do that?" Hashtag size and prostitute. No, I'm just kidding.
Shit. But yeah, I mean, like, being a nebulous group without any kind of solid structure lends them to people who can self-identify as anti-fascists and cause great harm to their organization as a whole. You know what I mean? Like, if I commit a terrorist act and then I can claim, you know, I'm an anti-fascist, you know, Antifa,
Yeah.
then the whole group as a whole gets blamed by the American society as opposed to a group that has a solidified code of ethics, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, this is what we stand for.
Yeah.
And I respect their nebulous state and their disorganization, but at the same time, that's their greatest weakness.
It's also their greatest. I mean, if you're operating in a society that is already kind of fascist, it's better to be as anonymous as you can be. The bombing, the Bologna massacre is what it's called, was a terrorist bombing of the Bologna Central Railway station in Italy on the morning of 2 August 1980, which killed 85 people and wounded 200. That's a lot of fucking people. Several members of the neo-fascist terrorist organization Nuclei Armati Revolutionaire, NAR, Armed Revolutionary Nuclei, or whatever, were sentenced for the bombing, although the group denied the involvement. After the group denied this involvement, Antifa went and did their shit that they were supposed to do. That's kind of what they're here for. There are antibodies against these fucking twits, you know, in some ways.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot more instances. There's I think Charlottesville, Pennsylvania, or something happened recently in like 2011 or 2021, something like that. Neo-Nazi mass shooting. There was a Texas neo-Nazi arrested recently. He was planning to shoot up a Walmart. That's crazy.
Yeah, it sucks, man, just being in a Walmart.
Yeah, I know, right? I go to Walmart all the time. That fucking sucks.
I mean, both groups. I mean, if the moment you say far right, far left, both groups are too far to. You know, I mean, their thinking is lopsided. You know what I mean? You can't get them to be in the middle and think on both perspectives.
Right. August 12th, 2017, the Charlottesville car attack was a white supremacist terror attack perpetrated on August 12th, 2017, like I said, when James Alex Fields Jr. deliberately drove his car into a crowd of people peacefully protesting the Unite the rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, murdering one person and injuring 35. 20-year-old Fields had previously espoused neo-Nazi and white supremacist beliefs and drove from Ohio to attend the rally. He was convicted in a state court for first-degree murder of 32-year-old Heather Hare. I'm surprised that when she died, they didn't pull up her criminal history and be like, well, she stole a pack of gum when she was 8, so, you know, like 8 counts of malicious wounding and hit and run. You know what I'm referring to, right? When that kid
I know what you mean.
went up there and started shooting people for no fucking reason because he wanted to protect capitalism. Let's see. There's a lot of. I mean, you get the idea. It was a peaceful protest. They have the same idea. It's basically the way I perceive it is fascistic groups, decentralized fascist groups, and actual fascistic groups are at an active war with Antifa, and as far as I'm concerned, they can wipe each other the fuck out.
I mean, like if we're not careful, there's a different type of fascism that will take over America, and that's religious fascism.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at what happened with Roe versus v.
Scoot up, my brother. Yeah.
Roe v. Wade, where like the Catholics took over. I'm not saying like they took over the Supreme Justice. You know, there's a Christian agenda that the Christians are following to take over the country.
Yeah, there is. I think we should start using it against them, though, like, to get into... I saw, I think it was in Texas, this lady was pulled over for being in the HOV, which is the carpooling.
Mm-hmm.
And she was pregnant.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. She said, well, I have a human being inside of me, but no, she got charged. So that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, she's suing Texas for it.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, she should win because the overturning of Roe v. Wade happened, I guess, and let's use it against them too. Fuck it.
I don't know if Texas is. I don't know what their rules are now, but I mean,
you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. Not that kind of way.
Yeah.
Got to do it the way we want you doing it.
Well, they didn't care about it until, like the Republicans, I think they started the whole anti-abortion back in the late 70s. It's more of a diversion.
It's a diversion. And anybody who
Separate us.
believes, anybody who falls for this, anybody who falls for it, they need to realize that they're actually not pro-life. I mean, if you're okay with the kids in cages right now, who are kids still, to this day, being held in cages away from their parents, they've been in there how long? Like 4 or 5 years now? I mean, in fucking abhorrent conditions, like fucking bullshit conditions. I mean, let's look at history with all the indigenous kids that were killed in Catholic schools. I mean, it's not just a few. We're talking about in the hundreds of thousands of kids in Catholic schools murdered, bro. We need to do an episode on that because it is fucking crazy how deep that rabbit hole goes. And
Yeah. Well,
there's nobody gives a fuck about life. Not from the right, at least. The far right and the right, they don't give a fuck about life, man. They don't. I'm gonna just say that outright. I mean, they care about the people around them, and they don't want little babies being killed and murdered, and that's, I guess, noble in their own way.
Both parties represent the same entity that is over America, the billionaire. I mean, like if you look at, let me look up. All right, so who owns Fox? Fox News, and then I'll look up who owns CNN. All right, so
The billionaire doesn't give a fuck about life at all.
all right, so the owner is. All right, let's look at the owner. It's a corporation.
Well, who owns that corporation?
That's good. Yeah, well, it's like the Fox Corporation. Well, who's in charge of it? Robert Murdoch. Age 91, Melbourne, Victoria, Australia.
No,
It's not
what?
even- yeah, it's not even an American. That's funny. And then let's look at CNN, the owner. You know what I mean?
Who
Alright,
owns
CNN.
NBC
Yeah,
and Pornhub?
NBC. Turner Broadcasting System owns CNN and
TBS?
Yeah. And Ted Turner is the founder.
Let's see.
Still alive, still a billionaire. Yes. He gave $1 billion to create the United Nations Foundation.
General
He's
Electric
billionaire.
owns NBC. Isn't that fucking nuts? Okay, who owns General Electric? This is a rabbit hole.
In Manufacturing Consent by Noam Chomsky, the American media selects what they cover, and the selection is based off of, well, the interest of our elite, ladies and gentlemen. They get to pick and choose what is called a genocide. For example, in Turkey, millions being killed there is brushed off. But in Laos or Cambodia, where Pol Pot was killing millions, that's a genocide. So we gotta be careful with the media and how they portray certain people in our country, because those are in line with the power, the elite. What am I trying to say? Their agenda, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no company out there giving us any kind of good journalism.
Hey, dude, you're not gonna
I'm sure
believe
there's
this.
But
Okay, so General Electric owns NBC, and General Electric is owned by a Chinese company. They bought them out in 2016. Chinese Hayer Company. That's fucking nuts, man.
yeah, that's pretty nuts.
So we got Australia and China right now. Hold on. Let's get them all on here. CBS. Who owns CBS? Sorry, you got me down a rabbit hole. Who owns cute, big snakes? We got Russia. No, I'm just kidding.
That's funny.
CBS Corporation.
So while you're looking that up, one thing I thought about Antifa, like watching and reading on them, was, V from that movie. I think it's V, right?
Yeah, from The Boys.
V for Vendetta.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about? Have you seen that movie?
that movie's pretty good. I do know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
And he's anti-fascist.
Remember
The group
the
is-
November.
Yeah. And the group, that like Antifa kind of reminded me of V, in Vendetta. And that television show host kind of reminds me of like Fox News. What was the news guy? That news guy reminded me exactly of the talk show host Steve Fry played.
Mm.
It reminded me exactly of one of the Fox guys, either O'Reilly or one of the other guys.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Sensationalist Bill O'Reilly
Yeah.
or fucking
Yeah.
Sean Hannity or.
Yeah.
Oh, that was weird. Okay, so the guy that owns CBS, it took a while to find him because it said that National Amusements is who owns CBS. So I wanted to figure out who owns National Amusements, and that's Sumner Redstone. He's dead now. He's a billionaire and media magnate. His family now owns Paramount, CBS, Nickelodeon, motherfucking everything. And he is he's Russian. No, I'm just kidding. He's American. We got one from America, and he's a billionaire. But
Well-
dude, I really had to dig. I had to dig deep to find this guy. He kept like saying a whole bunch of different things tagged to it.
Yeah. I mean, they're the real power players in the country. And guess who these companies only have coverage on during the elections? The Republicans and the Democrats.
The Democrats, yep.
And
Because
how
they're the
many
only people
political
that-
parties ran for presidency? Hold on, let me look this up. Political parties.
And we don't even have a communist party anymore, really. A relevant communist party. We used to back in the day, and people actually used to vote for them. But now
Yeah.
everybody's afraid of communism because
I mean,
communism is against our sentient totalitarianistic system. And they are aware of it. And they hired Jesus Christ to save everybody. Jesus Christ.
Save the political parties that ran in 2020 pending. All right, the Constitution Party, the Democratic Party, the Green Party, the Libertarian Party, the Republican Party. All right, number of votes. The Constitution Party, 203,000.
That's not bad. I didn't even know that party existed.
Actually, this is 2016. My bad. Hillary Clinton, 65 million. The Green Party, Jill Stein, 1,457,216.
Jesse
Gary-
Wilson's dick.
The Libertarian Party, Gary Johnson, 4,489,022.
Fucking libertarian.
Donald Trump, 62,984,825. 46% of the votes versus Hillary Clinton's
Dude.
48.
He got 3 million less votes than Hillary. That's fucking nuts, man. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Not that I care about Hillary. I don't give a fuck. But goddamn, did our conglomerates want somebody there? You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy that he was a billionaire.
And I mean, like the news coverage, it costs money to run for presidency in this country, and those without money can't have power in this country because they can't afford power.
Yeah.
And those without money can't afford justice.
Scooch up, scooch up.
Those with money can select groups like Antifa and call them terrorists.
Yes, exactly. Those without money can select groups like neo-Nazis and call them terrorists. Just kidding.
Thank God the Democrats think they're terrorists, Jesse.
You know what, Josh? Let's have a little debate here. You be the super rich guy, and I'll be the poor guy. Okay?
All right, I'm gonna shut you down right now. I got the cops coming to your house.
Well, wait a second. I voted for Trump. I voted for Trump. No, I'm part of the Proud Boys. Goddammit.
That ain't funny. You're not.
Shit my pants. For the record, I'm not part of the Proud Boys. We were gonna have that. Josh shut me down right away. Dies mysteriously. That'd be funny. That's how it goes, dude. I'm an actual activist that has an active grudge against you, and you're a super billionaire, right? Here we go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call you out, Josh. The billionaire dies mysteriously. Not you, me.
Yeah, all right. Where did he go? I don't know. I think he felt bad for what he said.
Then a bunch of news about how I fucking did what bunch of stuff to kids or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you know, something to defame me that's not true.
Oh, that's what they do.
Exactly.
I mean, like, that's what they'll find something small or something that's not true and defame you, and then the whole population believes that outright, and they will.
You can never clear your name again. They say where there's smoke, there's fire, and that's not necessarily always true. That's a pretty dangerous little hill right there, because you can defame anybody, and even if they prove their innocence, you're still gonna be like, that motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, if
my kids.
people are gonna still believe, you know what I mean, whatever they initially believe. There's no recouping after that, even if it's thrown out of court, even if you were innocent of killing the person and was thrown out of, you know, death row.
I'll be honest with you, though, man. Like, I'm not gonna, I guess, condemn the actions of Antifa unless they kill children. You know, that's fucked up. Or innocent people. But I'm not gonna condemn the actions of them in our end time status, because we might need them in times to come. We might not. We might have those moments where negotiations are impossible to even think about. You know what I mean? Because shit's getting tough. Food scarcity's happening. Water scarcity's starting to emerge. Climate change is showing near eschatological damage to what's happening to us currently. You know what I mean? Been 110 degrees in Texas for the last 4 days, you guys. Nah, I got massive swamp dick, right? This is the problem. I'm just kidding.
What the fuck?
Marissa said my penis has got a smoky flavor to it, and it's like, oh, I guess I gotta stop putting mesquite wood in my undergarments.
Jesus.
But no, it's getting bad, and I'm not gonna take medicine to kill the antibodies that are kind of helping us out. You know what I mean? Like, even if they're unsung heroes in a lot of sense, it still has a good purpose. And I know Noam Chomsky kind of is against them. He wants them to win the argument, but there's moments in history where there wasn't an argument. It was a straight up battle.
I mean, Noam Chomsky has valid arguments, but everybody ignores them. All of his books and all these lectures he provides, nothing's changed. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's just saying smart things to smart people who just take that knowledge and go home and take a shit and just go about their day.
Listen,
You know?
Antifa, if you're listening, I'm proud of you guys for fucking Nazis in the ass.
I knew you were a proud boy.
Take your hard dick and fuck a proud boy right in the butthole. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, boy.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't condone the action, but I don't condemn the action either. But I swear, if there was a rally of neo-Nazis and, like, I guess right outside. Well, okay, I live in the hood, so that wouldn't happen. They'd probably all get murdered, and it wouldn't be Antifa. It would just be fucking common sense. It would just be, yeah. I mean, I'm sure they would still try to figure out how to fucking blame Antifa, but No, if I chanced upon a Nazi rally, people were doing like a Hitler open mic or whatever,
Thank God I never did. You know what I mean?
I think I would be very hard for me not to fucking fuck one of those dudes up. You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah,
if he
the
saw me
thing is-
walking with my Mexican wife and he was just like, you're, you know, insert racial fucking slur, blank wife, probably fucking get close to murdering the motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the thing is, they're not alone, so
Yeah.
they'll see that. And,
Well, I'm not just gonna walk by a Nazi rally without a gun. I'm just kidding. Or you know, I could just be like, "Yeah, man, that's really funny," and then just leave and come back with a vehicle and run everybody over.
Jesus.
Starting with him. No, I don't like those people, man. They need to fucking that shit. If we could, and it sounds horrible, I can see why they think that if we just snuff him out, and that's short of what they're doing. They're not snuffing him out. They're not fucking going around and killing anybody with that point of view, killing anybody and everybody with that point of view, because that would not make them Antifa, now would it? But I mean, I guess you can commend him for not doing that. But
I mean, you got to
a
fight
lot of
for
me
something.
wants that happening. You know,
You got to stand for something. You know what I mean? And I think there's a few things I'd stand for and commit my life and kill somebody else. You know what I mean? Like if somebody tried breaking into my house, I'd kill them. You know what I mean? Like that's something. If somebody tried stealing my car, and I'd probably just watch them because that's different. I ain't gonna lose my life over my car. But if they're trying to go to my house, now if I'm in the car, that's different. I'm gonna be like, there's things that you got to take a stance on and not back down.
Yeah.
And I think Antifa, if they look at it, they're like fascism.
I suppose
It's kind of like somebody breaking in your house.
I was gonna say, I suppose that's tantamount to what you're saying, because
Yeah. Look, we came to the same conclusion.
Oh.
We must be brothers.
Hey, let's jerk off on a donut together. Whoever comes last gets to eat it. Come on, man. Come on.
Go, Donnie.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
If you guys worship Jizzleezus, email me at jdev1103@yahoo.com and show me some of your Jizzleezus drawings, pictures.
Jesus. That's funny, Jesse. Don't do that, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I was watching what's that? Senator in Texas is from
Ted Cruz?
Yeah. He submitted like a YouTube video of how we recruited back in the day, and we had all these like warrior commercials. And then he comes to how they're doing it today. You know, it's all about inclusive, diversity, the journey, blah, blah, blah. It's a lot softer than, asking for warriors. And then he switches to the Chinese and how they, recruit. And they have, like, the same, like, 1990s recruitment videos that we have. And like, who do you think's gonna win the war? Like saying that the change, like America embracing diversity, is a weakness.
I'm gonna find that because this is great.
Let me forward it to you, Jesse. I watched it not too long ago. I was like, what the fuck? When I watched it, I was like, it was laughable because I see where he was going, but it's like, really, all that progress. You say it basically, it looks weak, I guess,
Bits.
Okay,
They are
sorry about that. Okay, I just want to listen to this while you're finding that.
Last thing before we go tonight, by all accounts, Ted Cruz did not like the nickname Cancun Cruz, though he tried joking about it. That didn't matter. He really won't like being called Kremlin Cruz after his latest and remarkably stupid lapse in judgment. Remember as you watch this just how much Ted Cruz dreams of being president of a country someday, perhaps not this country, for reasons like this. He posted this, quote, Holy crap, perhaps a woke, emasculated military is not the best idea. Then he posted this video you're about to see. Russian propaganda, a recruitment video for their military, followed by a video meant to diminish the U.S. military.
Твоей новой жизни. Что ты знаешь о себе? На что ты способен? Вопросы могут остаться без ответов, но разве ты сможешь знать себя? Познать границы своих возможностей? К черту границы, а без боя нет победы. Но на самом деле, главный враг — это задача выследить врага, догнать его, превзойти, стать лучше, чем он.
It begins in California.
Yeah, that's the
With a
one.
little girl
Is it
raised
really?
by two
Yeah,
moms.
yeah,
It also
that's
marched
it.
for equality.
That's the
I
video
like to
that he
think
was
I've been
making fun
defending
of.
freedom from an
in his
early
video.
age. To marry my other mom. With such powerful role models, I finished high school at the top of my class. And after meeting with an Army recruiter, I found it. A way to prove my inner strength. I'm U.S. Army Corporal Emma Malone Lord, and I answered my calling.
So many things to say here, starting with, don't we want committed and motivated members of our all-volunteer armed forces? The Russians already reach deep into our society every day. Their disinformation is all over our media already, and
Pew,
it
pew.
quietly tears us apart. Imagine how happy it makes them to have yet another advocate among Republican members of the Senate. So many comments followed after Ted Cruz posted that. Countless reminders on social media that Cruz never served, but he did go to Princeton and Harvard Law School and briefly to Cancun. And a number of people pointed out that real emasculation is Donald Trump saying your wife is ugly, Donald Trump saying your dad was involved in the JFK assassination, and then publicly genuflecting to Trump and devoting your political career to seeking his approval. The voters of Texas have a chance to rethink their decision in 2024.
I doubt they will.
Yeah, he shared that not too long ago. He must have took that shit down because I was looking for it. I watched it and I saw the comparisons that he was trying to draw, making us into look weak, you know. Like, but you know, the recruitment video it's for the younger crowd. You know what I mean? The younger crowd is more about inclusion and all that. You know?
It's to get recruiters in the United States military are not. They're like car salesmen. They'll do anything you fucking want just to get you into the goddamn military, guys. And even if it's to make you look,
Nah, they're
even if
good
it's like-
guys,
yeah,
though.
that. So anyway, Antifa should visit those places.
Jesus. Anyway, yeah, that was the video I was talking about.
That's some funny shit, Cancun cruise. Oh man, and he's a Trump pansy too, and he and his wife called him fat. That's fucking funny.
Ted Cruz's wife.
Or no, he called his wife fat. I'm sorry. He's a fat wife right now. Have you seen what he looks like with his long hair and it looks like an author.
Why did he call his wife fat?
Who, Trump? Why does he do anything he does? It's Trump. That's
His
why
wife
everybody
ain't
likes
fat,
him, because
though.
he's fucking a spectacle. Huh?
His wife isn't fat though.
Is she ugly? Maybe he called her ugly. I can't remember. It's back in the video that we just listened to.
Nah.
But yeah, that's some funny shit. I hate Ted Cruz. I was just talking about him the other day because of the Cancun cruise thing that he pulled when everybody was fucking. Did you see that picture I sent you on Facebook of J.R.R. Tolkien? He looks like Hitler.
I haven't seen it yet. No.
It's good. So they thought he was part of the BUF at one point, the British Union of Fascists. It's crazy how you would just actively associate yourself with a fascist group and be cool with it. What did you say was the definition of fascism again?
Oh, hold on. It's authoritarian. Stand by. Oh, I closed it out. Let me look at the short one. Short definition. Fascism.
Mm-hmm.
All right. an authoritarian and nationalistic right-wing system of government and social organization. It's extremely authoritarian, intolerant, or oppressive ideas or behavior. Very intolerant, domineering. So you know what I was thinking about, Jesse, while watching Antifa? You remember the book 1984? They had 3 countries. One was China, one was Russia, and the other one was capitalist.
Dude, they talk about George Orwell in that Antifa book. Did you know that he was a communist?
I did not, but what I'm trying to draw is eventually all 3 systems are going to look the same, no matter what. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. They're
going to be an authoritarian government. And it doesn't matter. Like fascism is authoritarian, but so is, like communist or, like if it's a dictatorship, it doesn't matter what type of government it is. If it's authoritarian, it's the same. Just a different flavor.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's far right or far left. It's oppressive.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if George Orwell was capitalist, but like his books were anti-communist.
I got scared. I thought I lost our way. I thought we were talking to each other for no reason, man. I thought we lost our recording.
Let's see. Let's look at George Orwell. This is on Wikipedia.
Yeah, allegedly he's a
support of a democratic socialism. That's not. I mean, it could be considered communism.
So communism has many different types of forms. So the Olympic rally of 1934, in which a number of anti-fascist protesters were attacked by a parliamentary wing of the BUF, which is the British Union of Fascism, the Fascist Defense Force. So he was part of Antifa.
He was in
George Orwell.
In Spain, right? He was in Spain during the whole Civil War.
Yeah, George Orwell was part of fucking Antifa, bro. That's pretty fucking rad.
His book, I like his books. You know what I mean? It gets you thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the saddest part was in Animal Farm where, what's the word I'm looking for? Where the horse, the hardest working animal of all of them. He's finally retiring. Everybody's happy. I'm happy for the horse. And the horse goes into the back of this trailer and he realizes it's going to the glue factory and he's kicking as hard as he can. And when he was in his prime, when he kicked, he could have kicked it open, but, he wasn't as strong. And
oh man,
all the animals were horrified watching him leave,
Mm-hmm.
That's when I grew a real hatred towards authoritarian governments. Any kind of, like I would say, I'm anti-fascist, but I'm not part of Antifa. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want somebody that provided that amount of work to be sent to a glue factory, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Symbolically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I think we need to change everything that we're doing in that respect. Let's at least have Medicare for all if we're going to keep doing this stupid bullshit with inflation and everybody fucking sucking. I read the wrong page, though. I was reading BUF on Wikipedia. I wasn't reading about him. He was a communist, though. He was part of right here, he was part of the United Socialist Party of Catalonia, or a wing. It's a wing of the Spanish Communist Party, which was backed by the Soviet arms and aid. Orwell was at first exasperated by this kaleidoscopic of political parties and trade unions with their tiresome names. So yeah, there's a lot about him. I mean, people cite George Orwell like he's some kind of authoritative figure on what communism does. Like he had some kind of bad commentary on communism, and
he did have bad commentary on the Russian system. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he didn't like Yugoslavia, or not Yugoslavia. Excuse me.
The Soviet Union.
The Soviet Union, yeah.
Yugoslavia is another cool rabbit hole to get into as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like his writing. It opens your eyes. And I think, the part where they put rats in this cage and it's about to eat his eyes out, and then he finally confesses about his girlfriend, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And he finds out the rats he was in no danger. They're just fucking with his mind. I mean, like, were there rats? I can't remember. But, like, it ends on a super sad note. They took the main character's soul away, and it, you just end it from there. It's just like, damn. Can't win.
Jesus Christ, he died at 46. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, he had Orwell's health continued to decline after the diagnosis of tuberculosis in 1947. Mid-1949, he courted Sonia Brownell. Dude, he was pulling bitches fucking with tuberculosis and shit. I think he might have given her tuberculosis. Announced their engagement in September shortly before he was removed from the University College Hospital in London. Sonia took charge of Orwell's affairs and attended him diligently in the hospital. In 1949, Orwell invited his accountant Harrison to visit him in the hospital, where he gave him tuberculosis and fucked him in the butthole. Orwell's wedding took place in the hospital in that same... I'm just kidding. He didn't do any of that, what I just said. We'll skip to the part where he died. Early morning of 21 January, an artery burst in Orwell's lungs, killing him at age 46. And then... Wow, this is a plot twist. Orwell had requested to be buried in accordance to the Anglican rite, but they actually took him to the glue factory and made glue out of him. Josh, if you remember the last episode where you said you got a dark joke, well, that was a dark joke.
That was a good one, Jesse.
Yes, it was. Man, we said a whole bunch of shit that, especially when I ascribed that BUF Wikipedia page to Orwell. That's stuff that wasn't true. I don't know if he was actually a part of Antifa.
You know, it's crazy. We don't have the authors like they did back in the day,
We can't. We don't have the music we did. We don't have anything that we did. I mean, everything is being dumbed down on purpose, dude. That's the easiest way to rule a society. I mean, think of the old times where there was, what do you call it?
This technocratic government.
Yeah, but what do you call it when there's a king? What is that called?
A monarchy?
Monarchy, yeah. I kept thinking monopoly, but no, monarchy. The best way to keep them... the only one that really kind of fucked that whole thing up, the whole monarchy thing, was King James by giving literacy to the people. Which, like I said, King James, he's part of the BDBC club. He's part of the Big Dick Back Credit Club. Motherfucker's academic. That doesn't mean that he didn't have his faults.
I'm a Dickian.
But academician. That's actually how you pronounce that. That's from our first episode where we're like, you back there acadicking me.
You were acadicking me over there, man. You gotta be acadicking.
But he's the reason why I would say I put a big, strong opinion out there that he's the reason why we have more literacy in the whole world. Or not the whole world, but a good portion of it. You know what I mean? A very good portion of the world is literate because of him. Because of his, I guess, willingness to print the Bible in the modern vernacular and give it into the millenary petition.
Yeah, I mean...
But we're losing that. Pretty soon we'll be illiterate. I mean, most of our country is starting to become somewhat illiterate. I mean, our text speech is it's cool to not spell things right now,
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of slowly implementing itself. We're digressing. We're progressing in a digressive way. We're progressing.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the power of, that Antifa has got a good ideology, if we just remain restricted to just anti-fascism. And it's just not competitive against the mass media and their power over people.
Yeah.
It's been that like that for a long time. I mean, Mussolini was able to, snuff him out, and so was Hitler.
Yeah.
And those were, like Hitler was and everybody loved Hitler in Germany. Or not everybody, but like a mass majority of them. And I'm pretty sure if you said fuck Hitler back in the day, just like we say fuck Trump, people would, what the fuck did you just say? Like, and I'm sure there was people that hated Adolf Hitler and what he stood for in Germany. It's just there were so few of them.
It's funny that Ted Cruz was telling us that our propaganda needs to be better. We need to step up our propaganda game. Oh, shit. And it's only because of the way that other countries see us. It has nothing to do with being able to get people to see. What kind of president would he be if he really just gives a shit about what other countries think about who we are? That's such a stupid way to fucking run things. That's fucking stupid, man.
Well, I mean, he's trying to get Republicans to react. The reaction to that is like, he's right, we're a weak country. Oh, my God. Back in my day, we were a lot tougher.
Yeah.
Because he sent a video of the old school American. You remember the Marines fighting a dragon, Marine, like being in a knight's, like, and then he skipped to that one where my mom and dad, or my two moms, blah, blah, blah. And he's just trying to draw a contrast of, like, are we ready to fight, blah, blah, blah.
Why does it make us pussies that we have two moms, though? I don't get it.
I don't know, man. Like, why? I don't know. He's just drawing. He's
Like,
trying to make it.
If you want to fight for your country and you got two moms, I don't think you're a pussy.
Yeah.
I don't think that at
No.
all. Oh, thank God I farted a little bit. I've been holding in this poop for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that either. But, like, a lot of people in America do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and he's trying to feed to that audience, which, the Republican audience. You know what I mean? It's who he's trying to feed.
Right,
to.
and that, in a way, that's disclusionary speech if you think about it. It's almost a way of saying that we need to stop having families like that because it's making our fucking country pussies. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what he's saying. He's saying, there's something wrong with two moms. There's something wrong with our country. We're not Russia. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, Russia was, like with their propaganda in their own country is trying to make us look weak as well. You know what I mean? Like,
Hey, who doesn't? Who doesn't in their own propaganda? We probably
Yeah.
make Russia look fucking stupid too. I don't watch TV enough to know, but I'm sure we do.
yeah, I think that's one thing. We don't have the commercials anymore. Fucking trying to. I mean, unless you watch YouTube, but nobody watches those things. They just wait for the skip.
Yeah.
But back in the day when we all watched television, we watched those commercials with the toys, and we're like, "Yeah, I want that fucking toy."
Yeah.
We'd going in the car, going into Walmart. Mom, I want the toy. No, I want the toy. Like we don't. Thankfully, we don't have that anymore. as bad. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the Antifa.
We were
protests.
We were susceptible to those toy commercials.
We were. Yeah.
They definitely hit their target audience. They knew that we were watching television.
I'm still susceptible to them.
Yeah.
Every time I see a toy commercial. I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, like you see a commercial, like Subway, like coming with good ass food, and you're hungry. You might go eat Subway.
Dude, you ever like get your food and you're like eating it, and then you see a commercial for another food, and you're like, God damn it. I want that, but I'm also eating this. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I mean, marketing is one of those things that manufacture consent.
Yes, you are also very far away from the consensual microphone. That's
Yes.
been wanting to be up in your throat all day. Oh, yeah. I'm going to let you relax. We're at 80 minutes. I got to cut a lot of stuff out of there.
All right, brother.
I got to
I
go.
love
poop.
you.
Love you
Gotta
too,
do my
man.
homework and.
Thanks for doing this with me. I hope you didn't stop the kids because we were doing this.
Oh, they didn't stop.
Oh, they didn't?
No, they stopped. No, Devin went in his room.
Oh, okay. Tell him I said I love him.
I will.
All right.